Good evening, dear students. Today we'll start discussing about the properties of nanomaterials. So, when we look into the properties of nanomaterials, the first property of the nanomaterial is the surface area. So, nanomaterial is the material whose internal or external dimension is in between 1 to 100 nanometer. If a macroscopic object is subdivided into a smaller parts, the surface on the surface of the nanomaterial, and the atoms or molecules concentration increases. So the surface area, when you look into a surface area, the total number of fraction of the atoms present on the surface is more and more in case of a nanomaterials. So the significant number of total fraction of atoms are present in case of nanomaterials, and the inverse relation between the particle size and the surface area is responsible for the remarkable changes in the physical properties of the nanomaterials. So the density of the atoms or molecules present on the surface of the nanomaterials increases because the when you look into the and the entire structure of the nanomaterial, the exposure surface, the surface area becomes very high, because it does not have any kind of the perfect structure shape. So the properties like the catalytic activity. So you know very well, catalytic activity or the absorption of the gas is directly related to the number of atoms or molecules present on the surface. Into that, the active number of atoms or molecules present on the surface, if the number of atoms increases, we can hope to have a active number of atoms or molecules which are present on the surface. So the properties like catalytic activity will considerably increase when the material is reduced from bulk state to the nano state. In the similar case, gas absorption also increases, and the chemical reaction depends upon the surface area. So the chemical reaction, in any chemical reaction, the number of atoms and or molecules present on the surface is considerably more important rather than the number of atoms which are present inside the bulk of the material. So in case of nanomaterials, the volume of the material becomes very less, and the number of atoms present on the surface will considerably increases. So the number of atoms increases, the participation of those atoms or molecules into chemical reaction also increases. So you expect in the first case that the lot of chemical reactivity in case of the nanomaterials. For example, gold is catalytically inactive in case of a bulk material, and you see the gold is the properties of the gold is very limited in case of a bulk material. So gold is catalytically inactive in the case of a bulk material because the number of atoms are restricted on the surface of the gold in case of a bulk material. But the same gold is reduced to nano gold is highly catalytically active. So you must have heard the nano gold is being widely used widely used in medical science for increasing the activity of the some of the targeting molecules. So nano gold is catalytically active. This catalytic activity is due to the number of active gold atoms and the electronic structure in the gold atoms, and the confinement of orbitals in the gold atoms. So electronic structure, confinement of the orbitals, number of atoms on the surface will make the gold in the nano state catalytically more and more active. So when you look into the material structures, so this material, this is the in case of a bulk materials. So you can find the in the bulk, in case of a bulk materials, you can find any kind of disorder which is located at the boundary of the material. So in the boundary of the materials, so this is the boundary, you can say edge of the materials in a common term. In the edge of the materials, you can find the more and more disorderness in case of bulk material. But when you look into the nanomaterials, you can find a complete disorder. That is what is called as a total disorder in the molecules. So the number of atoms which are present on the surface may not be confined to the one size. It may have a size in between 1 to 100 nanometer, and the electronic structure, orbital configurations will be completely disordered. So nanomaterials, you can find the nanomaterials have the 100 to 10,000 times disordered atoms. This is the case where in case of nanomaterials. So nanomaterials will have a disorderness ranging from 100 to 10,000 times the disorderness in the crystal structure. So completely disordered atoms or molecules will show definitely very interesting and very significant properties of the nanomaterials. So in the first case of the properties of nanomaterials, in surface area, the surface area considerably increases, which in turn increases the number of active atoms on the surface, and which increases the activity of the nanomaterials. So in case of electrical properties, so as I said in the previous slide, electronic properties, electrical and electronic properties will considerably increase uh, in case of a nanomaterial rather than in the bulk materials. So electronic bands in bulk materials are continuous due to overlap of billions of atoms. But in nano-sized materials, very few molecules are present and electrical band separates. Hence, some of the materials are good conductors in the bulk and become semiconductors or insulator at the nano level. So, the electronic properties will considerably change in case of nanomaterials. It is not limited. Like, for example, in case of a bulk material, for example, in case of a gold, if you take in the bulk material, gold will show an electronic properties which is very limited in the spectral range. But in case of a nano gold, it may possess a semiconductor properties, and it may possess a conductor properties also. So a one single material poses different properties in the electrical and the electronic properties. So example of, if you say IV characteristics of an isolated 3.3 nanometer palladium nanoparticles, palladium nanocrystals, and the theoretical fit obtained at 300 Kelvin using a semi-classical model. And when you look into the charging energy, the how much energy the each atom takes up while charging, that is what is called as an IV characteristics. So you can have an increase in the current against voltage characteristics. On the x-axis you will have a voltage, on the y-axis you will have a current. And when you plot a graph of for example 3.3 nanometer palladium nanocrystals, so it will show definitely different electrical and electronic properties. Since you can see the graph very clearly, so the different properties are spotted with respect to the IV curve. So you can expect to have a non-linear properties in case of a nanomaterials. So electrical and electronic properties would be considerably different because of the change in the electronic structure of the orbitals and energy contained in the orbitals, hence overlapping of the orbitals. So for example, so in case of a bulk material, in case of a copper, let us say, the linear overlap in the bulk material will makes the copper as a good conductor. But this linear overlap of the 3s orbitals in the copper may be distorted or disturbed when the copper is reduced to a nano level. When the copper is reduced to nanoscale, so this may not be the case where copper is acting as a conductor. Copper may act as a semiconductor or maybe an insulator. So electrical and electronic properties will be completely different in case of a nanomaterial from the bulk material. Now come to the optical properties. Optical properties is the nanomaterials exhibit different colors from the bulk materials. So bulk materials colors, the optical absorptivity of certain frequency of radiation, especially in the case of a visible range. So the absorptivity will be the fixed in case of a bulk material. It will absorb only certain frequency of radiation from the visible region. The discrete electronic state of nanomaterials, the electronic state is completely discrete, and the energies possessed by the electrons will be completely discrete, and it will allow the absorption and emission of light in different frequencies. So when you look into the optical properties, for example, bulk gold appears yellow in color, you know very well. Now, nano-sized gold appears red in color. So there is a red shift which is being observed in case of gold from yellow to red. That when you reduce the same gold in the bulk state into nano state, it appears red in colors. The particles are so small that the electrons are not free to move about, as in the case of bulk gold. So in the case of nano gold, the electrons are not free to move, but whereas in the bulk gold, electrons are free to move. Because of this movement in the restricted state, the particles react differently with the light, and hence the optical properties will be entirely different when the same gold, which appears as yellow in the bulk state, when it is being reduced to a nano state. So optical properties are connected with the electronic structures. A change in the zone of structure which will lead to the change in the absorption and luminescence spectra. So absorptivity and the emission of the light in case of a bulk material which is fixed, which will absorb a certain range of radiations. But in case of nanomaterials, depending upon the size of the material and the electronic confinements in the materials, it will absorb different frequencies of radiations, and hence it will show different colors during absorption and emission. Now the absorption fluorescence spectrum of sodium atom. When you look into the sodium atom's absorption and fluorescence spectrum, how it looks. Now the figure 1a represents the absorption fluorescence spectrum of only the sodium atom. You can see the figure 1a. When you look into the absorption and the fluorescence spectrum of sodium, you can see a very single straight line, which is in the figure A, very single straight line in case of a figure A. When you look into the figure B represents the absorption fluorescence spectrum of the same sodium 3 clusters, the nanoclusters. So you can see when you make sodium 3 clusters, so you can see some of the broad spectrum. So and the figure C represents the absorption and fluorescence spectrum of sodium 8 clusters. So when you look into the figure C and D carefully, which is figure C represents sodium 8 clusters, and the figure D represents the nanoparticles of sodium chloride of 10 nanometer size, you can see a very broad spectrum. The broad spectrum. This broad spectrum indicates that the dissociation of number of atoms which are present in the sodium 8 clusters or sodium chloride clusters, sodium chloride nanoparticles. So figure A and figure C and D represents the sodium chloride nanoparticles. So from this figure 1 illustration, it is evident that the process of dissociation and defragmentation of nanoparticles occurs with the increase in absorptivity. So this sodium 8, when in the case of a sodium 8, so it will absorb in an over a broad range. It is not a sharp absorption. So absorption is in broad range, and hence the fluorescence is also in the broad range. So broad range absorptivity and fluorescence is due to the presence of different sized sodium atoms in the sodium 8 clusters. So the optical property, absorptivity is also one of the optical property where the atoms or molecules will absorb a certain frequency of radiations. So that will be different in case of a nanomaterials rather than the materials which is in the bulk state. Now comes to the thermal properties and the large increase in the surface energy. So the very important logic is that the number of atoms on the surface increases, which definitely increases the surface energy of the atoms, surface energy of the nanoclusters. So large increase in surface energy and the change in the interatomic spacing. So interatomic spacing will be different as a function of nanoparticle size has marked the very thermal properties of the materials. For instance, in case of a melting point of gold particles, the gold particle, which is really a bulk thermodynamic characteristics, has been observed to decrease rapidly when a particle size decreases to less than 10 nanometers. So the bulk gold properties, the melting point, thermal properties, the melting point, one of the criteria for the thermal properties. So, when it considerably decreases, when the size will reduce down less than 10 nanometer, and these smaller particles have higher melting points. So the thermal properties, nanocrystal size decreases, surface energy increases, melting point decreases. So this is the very fundamental concept where the nanocrystal size decreases, the size decreases, number of atoms or molecules present on the surface increases, and hence the surface energy increases, and hence the melting point decreases. So in contact with three atoms, so delta G of total is equal to delta G of bulk plus delta G of the surface. So surface atoms requires less energy to move because they are in contact with fewer number of atoms of the substance. So the density of the atoms on the surface considerably increases. So this makes the one atoms to come in contact with the another atoms to exchange their orbital energies, and hence the surface energy increases. The continuous exchange of the orbital energy take place of each atoms present on the surface. You know very well, 6.023 into 10 raised to 23 atoms are present for 1 mole of a substance. So many number of atoms exchanges energy continuously over the surface, and hence the surface energy increases, the melting point decreases. For example, 3 nanometer cadmium selenium nanocrystals. Cadmium selenium are mixed with each other and reduced to 3 nanometer size. Nanocrystals melts at 700 Kelvin compared to the bulk cadmium selenium, which will melt at 1678 Kelvin. So the 3 nanometer cadmium selenium nanocrystals melts considerably at a lesser temperature, that is 700 Kelvin, as compared with the bulk cadmium selenium at 1678 Kelvin. So when you look into the experimental illustration for the variation of melting point versus the particle radius, you can very clearly see the melting point of pure gold, different radius. When you plot a graph of radius of the particles in nanometer and versus the temperature it requires to melt. So you can see very clearly the bulk gold, which will take a longer, large temperature to melt, 1300, I think 1350. But as well as nanoparticles will melt at relatively lower temperatures. So in case of lead, which is a similar case, where the lead melts at a very higher temperature, the nano will melt at a relatively lower temperature. So you can see the melting point of pure bismuth and the pure silicon. Now, you know, pure silicon melts at 1500 degrees Celsius, 1468 degrees Celsius, nearer to 1500 degrees Celsius. But whereas nano silicon will reduce the melting point from 1468 degrees Celsius to comparatively lesser temperatures. Now comes the catalytic activity. Catalytic properties. Nanomaterials based catalysts are usually in heterogeneous catalyst broken up into metal nanoparticles in order to speed up the catalytic process. So catalytic activity will be considerably increases in case of a nanomaterial. So the metal nanoparticles have a higher surface area. So as I said in the previous slide, surface area considerably increases, which increases the number of active centers over the surface, and hence which will increases the catalytic activity of the nanomaterials. Now these nanoparticle catalysts can be easily separated and recycled with the more retention of catalytic activity, because number of active atoms or participating atoms during catalytic transformation, so it increases in their bulk counterparts. Now, catalytic activity of the materials. So you can see nano catalyst and then heterogeneous catalyst, merits and demerits, homogeneous and catalyst. Now, when you look into homogeneous catalyst, look into the demerits, the product purification and difficulty to recover the catalyst in case of homogeneous materials. And in case of a heterogeneous materials, inferior catalytic activity, because number of active centers go on reducing upon reusing or using the catalyst relative to their counterparts. Now, when you look into nano catalyst, you will have a considerable the merits. Demerits are very less. When you look into nano catalyst, the first one is very high activity. So, for example, for hydrogenation of oils and fats, you use nickel as a catalyst. So instead of nickel and palladium, if you use nanomaterials, the time required for the catalytic hydrogenation and the energy required for the hydrogenations, everything decreases. So time decreases. More efficiently, it can convert from the conversion of higher homologous into lower homologous. So high activity, high selectivity, so it will be very selective for a particular type of the catalysis. Excellent stability, so the stability of the nanoparticles is very extremely stable. Even though reactivity is high, it is more and more stable. Excellent stability, easily separable, so it can be easily separated from the after the catalytic reactions. And energy efficient, as I said, very important. It some transformations can happen at a higher energy state, like 200 or 300 or nearer 2000 degrees Celsius. Nanoparticles can bring those transformations at room temperature. That is what is called as an energy efficient, and it is very economical. Now, in the case of an example of a water purification, a novel electrochemical deposition method of synthesizing nanometallic particles of silver over carbon covered with an alumina which is significantly efficient in controlling microbes in water. So, a coating of silver over in carbon, which is covered with an aluminum oxide, alumina, which will act as a very efficient membrane for controlling all the microbes which are present in the water. So these microbes are generally called as a coliformic group of microorganisms. The coliformic group of microorganisms it can effectively prevent. Silver is notably used nanosilver for controlling the microbes concentration. The main advantage of silver-supported catalysis is prepared by an electrochemical deposition. Over that, it is made by conventional impregnation of techniques, wherein the small amount is needed for the pre-treatment conditions. And the silver catalysis is prepared in this method are not only efficient but also economical in restoring the hydrogen. It's also concluded evidently that the silver supported catalysis are reusable. You can use this membrane again and again. The combined characteristics when silver is coated over in carbon and which is covered with a layer of Al2O3 alumina and carbon and with low acidity, high mechanical strength in the presence of mesoporous in carbon. So mesoporous structures of the carbon coverage in the alumina are also helpful for designing highly active the catalytic membrane. So the number of microbes which are present can be easily prevented by coating silver on a carbon surface or mixed with aluminum oxide, made it in the form of a membrane. Which will effectively control the number of microbes present in the water. Not only that, it can have a lot of mesoporous structures, and these mesoporous structures can be easily reusable, and the water acidity can be easily controlled, and the hydrogen which is during the purification there is a loss of hydrogen from the water, so the hydrogen restoring economy can be controlled with the help of this membrane. So there's an example of how the catalytic activity takes place when you use silver covered silver carbon covered with an aluminum. Thanking you.